عافية لا أكبر. اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين وفقهنا في الدين وعلمنا تأويل واهدنا إلى سواء السبيل. يا فتاح يا عليم، يا فتاح يا عليم، يا فتاح يا عليم، افتح علينا فتحا قريبا. اللهم إنا نسألك العلم اللدني ومشرب الصافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نويت تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم والدعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله مرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala today we will continue on from where we left off last week. Yeah, after we do a little bit of revision from the fi'l madi of a verb which is ajwaf. So we call this mu'tal ain. Okay, ajwaf means it's hollow. Okay, ada lubang. You know, the jawf in Arabic is a cavity. So if you have a cavity, any cavity, a body cavity, you know, a cavity on your tooth, so anyway, if you have a cavity, that cavity is called a jawf. It needs to be filled up. And a cavity needs to be filled up. And so the hollow verbs are called ajwaf. Okay, in Arabic. So you see it there on the box in the top right hand side. We say this. Okay, let me just this one. Okay, ajwaf. Ajwaf. So why is it called ajwaf? Because it is hollow. Why is it hollow? Because usually we said that the basic form of verbs are thulathi. Thulathi means that it would have 3 huruf. Okay, 3 huruf. So you would do something like kataba, fataha, alima, you know. So you actually produce 3 syllables out of it. But when we look at this verb here, kana, you only say kana. So actually, it seems like there's one huruf that's missing. So what is the huruf or harf that's missing here? The middle one. Okay, the middle one. So we call this the ain. Okay, the ainul fa'al. So we call this mu'tal ain. Mu'tal literally means an illness, you know, an illness or an ailment, you know. So so this fa'al that we are looking at here, it has an ailment, sakit. Sakit kat mana? Sakit kat tengah. Mu'tal ain. Okay, mu'tal ain, because we only say kana, and it seems like there's no ainul fa'al. But remember what I spoke about last week. I said that actually there is an ainul fa'al. It's just that over the years, yeah, the Arabic language has transformed, you know, and from its origins, you know, until we arrive at a point where they don't actually mention the ainul fa'al. So the asal, that means the origin of this verb is actually kawana. This is how it looks like actually, you know. So in ancient times, the Arabs would have said kawana, you know, but the language developed over many, many years until when we arrive at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where, you know, this is something that we have to understand about the Arabic language. And in fact, any other language for that matter, especially classical languages, when we talk about the epitome or the what we would consider to be the language at its prime, you know, where it is most developed and it's most in its most eloquent form, you know, all languages go through a transformation, you know. So it said that, like, for example, the English language, it went through transformative periods, you know, where it peaked at the time of Shakespeare. So for the Arabic language, it peaked at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is now the standard that we use. Okay. that means to determine whether a person's Arabic is eloquent or not, you know, whether it's he's speaking it beautifully or not, if he's speaking it correctly or not. We take the measure of the Arabic language as spoken by the masters of the Arabic language, the Quraysh, at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. So it morphed, yeah, because people might ask, what if it morphs like it does now? And it does, you know, because now people won't even say kana, they would just say can, you know. But actually that's not the standard that we are looking to aim for. We are looking to aim for the standard of Arabic as spoken by the Quraysh at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so it moved from this to this. Okay, so over time the Arabs, they stopped saying kawana. So some of the linguists say because actually it's a little bit heavy on the tongue to say kawana. Yeah, kawana yakunu. Yakunu. It's actually a little bit difficult to say as compared to kana yakunu. No, so this is the standard now. Okay, so since this is the standard, this is what we use. So the asal. So as far as we are concerned, when we are talking about the root word, you know, in regards to these words that we have on screen, where does it go back to? It goes back to kana yakunu. So when we refer to the asal or the roots, yeah, we are referring to kana yakunu from now on. Okay, it's kana yakunu. However, despite the language morphing over time, yeah, we say that actually the origins, okay, the asal of kana yakunu, that is kawana yakunu, it still exists. Okay, it still exists, and you can find it. You can find traces of it such that you will know that the asal of it is kawana yakunu. Okay, kawana yakunu. And how will you know? So the Arabs say that sometimes we look at the masdar. The masdar is the verbal noun relating to root words. Okay, so if the root word is kana yakunu, the masdar, okay, and you can find the masdar here. Okay, in this chart, you can find the masdar here. It's here. Okay, let me just change this. Okay. Okay, you can find it here. The masdar. Okay, so the masdar is kaunun or kaunan. Okay, so because it is kaun, we can tell that the asal of it is kawana yakunu. You know, kawana yakunu. So when we do our saraf, okay, it seems like everything is intuitive, you know. It doesn't sound very far different from doing kataba yaktubu. So kataba, katabu, katabat, katabata, katabna, you know. It doesn't sound very different from doing the saraf that way. However, when you look at it, yeah, when you look at it from, oh, let me just, okay, so when you look at it, okay, huwa, huma, home, here, huma, it looks like the progression is quite intuitive. You know, you can morph it out from kataba, katabu. So you would do kana, kanu. You know, it seems quite intuitive, right? And then katabat, so you do kanat, and then katabata, kanata. However, when you arrive at the hunna, so this is what we spoke about last week. When you arrive at the hunna, you know, how do you morph it into hunna form? Okay, so you would have to take, so instead of saying katabna, okay, katabna, you would say kunna for kana yakunu. Why? The linguists say because the the wow. So imagine that you were doing this, right? If you were doing this, if let's say you were doing this, yeah. Oh, so the hunna, why is it changing? Oh, because I did this, is it? Do want this. Um, oh, I don't want this, sorry. Okay, it should be this. Okay. So imagine, what would it be? Now, we would have transformed it to kawanna. Huh? Kawanna. So the linguists, they say this is a little bit there's thakal. It's actually like heavy on the tongue to do it this way. So what they have done is they have taken this wow here, you know, which appears in here as well. So you can tell that the asal of it, the origins of it is kawana. So what do you do with the wow? So instead of putting it there, they move it. Okay, they move it to a place to the shackle. Okay, to the shackle. That means the fatha, the kasra, the dhamma. Okay, the shackle for the fa'ul fa'al, according they put a shackle that is munasib, that is suitable for kawana. Okay, what is that? That is because since it's a wow, the munasib is a dhamma. Okay, so they move this, okay, into kunna. Okay, and when we do kunna, it means that what we have cancelled is just the wow. In fact, we didn't cancel it, we just put it on top. Okay, and since there are two noons there, right, it would have looked like this, kunna. But you don't need to do that, you know, because there are two noons side by side. So they do this, kunna. Okay, so for hollow verbs, you can say that this is the general progression whenever you do saraf. Okay, you wait until you arrive at the hunna, and then you find a harf that is munasib, that is suitable for that particular verb. And it's not always dhamma, because last week when I explained to Shana, was I said sometimes, yeah, it can also be a kasra, like jitna, because because when we look at the origins and we find that it's ya, the asal is ya, so we would transform it and morph it and put a kasra on the verb corresponding to the domir hunna. Okay, right. So from here on, okay, from here on, we build on this. Okay, we build on this. So we would say kunna. Then the next one, anta, kunta, kuntuma, kuntum, kunti, kuntuma, kuntunna. So this is actually quite intuitive. You know, all you do is actually to change that means to put the domir appropriated into the verb here. Yeah, kunta, anta, kunta, antuma, kuntuma, antum, kuntum, anti, kunti, antuma, kuntuma, antunna, kuntunna. Okay, so you would actually do that. That is actually quite intuitive until you come at ana kuntu, nahnu kunna. Okay, right. So now today, inshallah ta'ala, we will do we will demonstrate the fi'il mudari for the ajwaf, in particular the mu'tal ain. So we will just build on kana yakunu. Okay, so this is how we would morph it. So Kana yakunu, so huwa yakunu. Okay, huwa yakunu. Huma yakunani. Huma yakunani. Okay. Hum yakununa. Okay. So we don't do anything different from what we've done previously. These are all the mudara'ah. And remember the mudara'ah, we mentioned they are the additions that we have to put or suffixes that we have to put at the front of a fi'l mudari', okay, a present tense verb, to show you to whom the word form relates to. Okay, so it would be anaitu, and I already mentioned that the alif and the nun relates to only two, which is the ana and nahnu. So alif for or hamza for ana, and nun for nahnu. Okay, so for the rest of the verb forms, you just have to use the ya or the ta. Okay, so you don't have, so in fact you just have to think about whether you put a ta or a ya in front. Okay, and remember I also mentioned that for a dual, okay, you add this thing called an alif ithnain. Okay, so it's yaku, so from yakunu you would get yaku na, and then the nun is a ziyada, an addition, which sometimes drops off depending on the function of this word in a sentence. Okay, so as far as you are concerned for now, just take it that it's yakunani, and this nun is an addition. Okay, something that is an addition to the word form. Okay, so home yakununa. Yakununa, and again we add the wawul jama', the waw here to show that it is plural, and the nun is again a ziyada, an addition. Okay, and then we do the same for hiya, huma, hunna. Okay, hiya takunu. Okay, hiya takunu, huma takunani. So again you just built on. Okay, you put the ta in front for a mu'annath, and then you add the alif ithnain, and then the nun here, okay, to show that this is a dual. Takunani. Okay, huma for two females, takunani. And then at hunna, remember we said that actually you don't build on from here. Yeah, unlike this, you built on, you just built on from here, but rather what has happened here is they have taken the home form, okay, and they have morphed it into yakunna. Yakunna. Okay, right? Yakunna. So you don't say takunna, but yakunna. Takunna is reserved here for antunna. Right? And then you move on. Anta takunu, antuma takunani, antum takununa. So again, this progression, is exactly like this one. You start with a mudara'a, which is ta. This one you start with a mudara'a, which is ya. Okay, you just add the alif and the nun for dual, and then you add the waw and the nun for the plural, jama', three or more. Okay, takununa, takunani, takununa, and then for anti, takunina. Okay, takunina, and then you build on takunina, takunani, and then you say takunna. So this progression, as you move from yakununa to yakunna, so likewise to morph from a male jama' to a female jama', you say takunna. Okay, طيب takunna. So okay, then ana akunu and nahnu nakunu. Okay. طيب questions? Any questions? No? Okay, so you can do this inshallah ta'ala. Okay, for your homework. Yeah. You can just follow the pattern. I think I can send you this page. Yeah. So you can just follow this pattern and then do the same for qala yakunu or soma yasumu. Okay. Qala yakulu means he talked or he said, he says, and soma yasumu means he fasted, he's fasting, or he fast. Okay. Sorry. Okay, any questions? Okay, type. If there are no questions, then we'll go on to our lessons in Medina Reader, inshallah. So we'll carry on from where we stopped last week. I actually put Monday here. Okay, Bismillah. So last week we went through the sentences. Okay, we went through the sentences on page 39. Okay, went through the sentences on page 39 and we stopped at number 8. Okay, we stopped at number 8. So inshallah ta'ala, today we'll continue on from number 9 onwards, 9 until 20. Okay, so we'll do a breakdown of the word forms, you know, and we'll look at how the go into building sentences which are understood, which are mafhum to us. Okay. Right. So the first one we have here is hadha miftahus sayyarati. Okay. So hadha is an isim ishara. So this is an isim ishara, meaning this, and we use this for mudhakkar. Okay, for masculine nouns. Hadha. Okay. And hadha is always there's actually an alif that's embedded there. So the right way to say it is actually hadha. Okay. So when I say hadha, that is actually I've actually done an iktisar of it. That means I've actually shortened it and it's understood. But the right way to do it is to say hadha. Okay. Hadha miftahus sayyarati. So remember, I told you that for any sentence, okay, any sentence where you're going to put is, are, was, were, you know, in between the first part of the sentence and the second part of the sentence, yeah, because there's no is, are, was, were in Arabic, you know. So this is in the form that we call mubtada khabar. So the mubtada is the isim isyarah here, hadha, this, okay, and then miftahus sayyarati, the key of the car. Okay, the key of the car. So this is something we call mudaf, mudafun ilay, the possessor and the thing possessed. Okay, the possessor here, the mudafun ilay, is the sayyara. Okay, and what does it possess? It possesses the key, miftah. So we could say in English, the car's key. Okay. And I mentioned that my preference is to say the key of the car because it comes in the same sequential order as in the Arabic, you know, miftah first and then the sayara. So we say miftahus sayyarati, the key of the car. Okay. So this sentence would translate into hadha, this is the key of the car. We won't actually translate it like that in real life. We would have said this is the car key. Okay. But we do this actually to demonstrate to you the how the Arabs actually think in their sentence structures. Okay. Right. And then the next part, the author writes, Aina miftahul bayti. Aina miftahul bayti. Okay. Where is the key of the house? So Aina is an interrogation. Okay. Aina istifham. So we are asking because we want to, istifham means we want to understand something. Okay. Aina miftahul bayti. Where is the key of the house? Okay. And this sentence structure is still known as mubtada khabar. It's still in subject predicate form. Okay. It's just that they've moved the predicate in front, aina, and they've put the subject following the predicate, miftahul bayti. Okay. Because we could have very well said miftahul bayti aina, the key of the house is where, you know, and that's how people who speak broken English would have said it, right? The house key where, you know, so it is actually like that, you know. It's just that the author here, he has moved the khabar in front. So we call this, in formal Arabic, we call this khabar muqaddam, the khabar that has been put to precede the mubtada. Okay. Aina miftahul bayti. Where is the key of the house? Okay. Next sentence. Man anta ya waladu. So here, again, we start the sentence with an interrogation. Man. Okay. Meaning who. Anta, meaning you. And then ya, it could be translated as O, or in Malay we would say wahai walad, boy. Okay. Man anta ya waladu. Who are you, oh boy? Okay. So again, this sentence is actually mubtada khabar as well. You know, because if we were to translate it into broken English, what would we say? We would put the mubtada anta, man, okay, the khabar, following it, and then we would translate it as you who. You are who? You are who? Or you is who? Okay, if we were to say it in broken English. Okay? So it is actually still in mubtada khabar form. It's just that we have to be flexible in the way we think about the sentence structures. Okay. So ya waladu is this is a harful nida. Okay, harful nida. Nida means to call out. So this is a harf that you put in front of a noun, an isim. Okay, when you want to call out to someone. And here he's calling out to a boy who he doesn't know who he is. Okay. So typically this is what happens. Ya waladu. We would also take away the tanwin for the munada, the one that is being called to, and puts just a dhamma there in its place instead of a dhammatain. Ya waladun, no, ya waladu. Okay, but there are instances where it could be ya waladun. Okay, so if you happen to come across somewhere in the hadith, there are instances that it could be, but let's just take it for now that the munada, if you are calling out to someone, that particular thing that you are calling out to, it would not take tanwin. Okay. Okay. You know when it, because and I just put this as a caveat because you might come across sentences in your dhikr, you know, where there are tanwins, you know, yeah, like when you say ya latifan bi khalqi, ya latifan bi khalqi, ya khabiran bi khalqi. Okay, and that one is another thing altogether. We'll get there inshallah ta'ala. Okay? And the answer is ana, so I, Ibnu Abbasin. Okay, so this is again in Muqtada Khabar form. So he's saying I am. So remember, is, are, was, were, am. Okay, if you are putting it, if the sentence is in that structure, we call it Muqtada Khabar. I am. Okay, this is mudaf ilay. Ibnu Abbasin, the son of Abbas. Okay? I'm the son of Abbas. Okay, next one. Wa aina man huwa? Oh, sorry. Wabnu man huwa? Wabnu man huwa? And whose son is he? Again. Ibnu man huwa. Okay. So this one, the author is trying to draw your attention because we've seen many mudaf ilay, you know, and they come in very straightforward forms, you know, like this one, miftahus sayarati, miftahul baiti. Oh, quite straightforward. Yeah, you just get the mudaf and then the mudaf ilay. Both of them are proper nouns, you know, and like Ibnu Abbasin, the son of Abbas. Abbas is a name of a person. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. You can think of it as mudaf ilay. But when you come here, Ibnu Man, he is trying to tell you that even, you know, if we have an interrogative noun here, man, who, it is still in mudaf ilay form. How is it in mudaf ilay form? Ibnu Man is the son of who? Okay, so is it in mudaf ilay? It is. The Ibnu is a mudaf, and the man here is the mudafun ilayhi. Yeah. And the son of who is he? Okay. So again, this sentence is also muqtada khabar because you could have very well said wa ibnu man. Wa huwa ibnu man. Yeah. It is muqtada khabar. He is the son of who? Okay. And the answer is huwa ibnu Khalidin. He is the son of Khalid. Okay, again, this is mubtada, this is khabar. Okay, and the khabar itself is mudaf ilay. Okay, mudafun ilay. Very straightforward. Okay. So we'll move on to the next one. The next one, the sentence is quite interesting. So he's doing something different. This author, mashallah ta'ala, mashallah tabarakallah, he has thought about how to teach Arabic and how to introduce word forms to students. So he's introducing them progressively, and every sentence you read, you will notice something that you've not noticed before, that you've not been introduced to before in our lessons. Okay, so here he's asking, Aina masjidu rasulillahi. Aina masjidu rasulillahi. Aina, where is the masjid of Rasulillahi? So here, okay, there are two mudaf ilay. The first one is this, okay. Okay, Masjidu Rasuli. So remember, we mentioned this before. The masjid, the word masjid, because it's a mudaf, it cannot take tanwin. Okay, so we don't say masjidun, but we say masjidu. So this is the mudaf, and we have the mudafun ilay following it, which is rasuli, okay, or rasulillahi. But for analytical purposes, let's just take rasuli. Okay, so this is the masjid. Okay, masjid is the mudaf, and this is the mudafun ilay. Okay, this is the mudafun ilay for masjid. Okay, but at the same time, it is also a mudaf. Okay, it is also a mudaf. So its asal would be Rasulullahi. Rasulullahi. So Rasul, this is mudaf, and then lafdul jalal. Remember I said that we don't say Allah because Allah is not mudafun ilay. So it's bad adab for us to say Allah mudafun ilay, but we say lafdul jalal, which means the greatest name. Okay, the greatest name of Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala, lafdul jalal, is mudafun ilay. So it would have been Rasulullahi with a dhamma in its asal form. However, because it is in and of itself mudafun ilay, so the word rasuli, it takes a kasra instead of a dhamma. Okay, so this is one mudaf ilay, and this is a second mudaf ilay. Baik. Aina masjidu rasulillahi. Aina masjidu rasulillahi. Okay, and then the author puts in the salawats upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, peace be upon him. Okay, peace be upon him. This, okay, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is a verbal sentence. Okay, a jumlah ismiyah. Why? A jumlah fi'liyah. Why? Because it begins with a fi'al. Okay, it begins with a verb. What is the verb? Salla. Okay, and this is fi'al madi. We've not learned this verb form yet. Okay, where we have a shadda on the root word. Okay, we'll come to that inshallah ta'ala. But this is a fi'al madi. Okay, sallallahu alaihi wasallama. Okay, wasallama, this is also fi'al madi. Okay, wasallama alaihi. Sallallahu alaihi wasallama alaihi. Okay, wasallama. So we just say wasallama. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so this is a jumlah fi'liyah, a verbal sentence in madi form, which means literally Allah had sent salawat and salam upon him, alaihi, referring to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, just something that you should take note of when we see words like this. Okay, this particular sentence in the scheme of the whole sentence, we call this jumla mutadakhila. Okay, a sentence that just comes inserted into another sentence. Okay, it's like as if it were longer, you would have just put a dash, you know, or a semicolon, you know, and a dash, meaning that if you took out what is here, the meaning of the sentence still remains. Yeah, so we call this jumla mutadakhila. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So just for you to take note that when we see sentences like this, so these are sentences that we use in as honorific, you know, attachments to the original sentence, to something that is mentioned in the original sentence. So in this case, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, we don't actually translate it as Allah had sent salawats and salams upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, but rather we say, may Allah's salawats and salams be upon him. Okay, and this is something that is from Arabic, you know, rhetoric. You know, when we use this jumlah, this sentence in this manner, the Arabs, they call this jumlah khabariyah, jumlah khabariyah lafdan wa du'a'iyah ma'nan. That means it looks like they are telling you something, but actually it's a dua. We are asking for something. And the same thing goes with radhiyallahu anhu, hafizahullahu ta'ala, you know, rahimahullahu ta'ala. It means, it seems like we said Allah had sent rahmat upon him, but what we mean is, may Allah send rahmat upon him. Radhiyallahu an, it looks like literally you would translate it as Allah was pleased with him, but what you mean is, may Allah be pleased with him. So it is a du'a'iyya ma'nan. Okay, so okay, so aina masjidu rasulillahi, where is the masjid of Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Okay, so the answer is huwa fil madinatil munawwarati. It is in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwarah. Okay, so this huwa, this isim isyarah, okay, this not isim isyarah, sorry, this is a domir. Okay, this is a domir. This domir, okay, relates to what? Relates to the masjid. Okay, relates to the masjid, and that's why we use a mudzakkar form, huwa, and not here. Okay, and this is in mubtada khabar. This is the mubtada. Okay, and the khabar is something that we call in Arabic shibhu jumla. It looks like it's a sentence, okay, but it's not actually a complete sentence. Okay, we'll come to that inshallah ta'ala. Fil madinatil munawwarati. So it is in Madinah al-Munawwarah. Mubtada khabar. Okay, so here, this is something interesting, and I think this is the first time in the book, other than the titles, where the author actually uses something that we call sifat mausuf. Okay, and that is this word Al-Madinah Al-Munawwarah, or this compound word Al-Madinah Al-Munawwarah. Okay, so some people, you know, when they learn Arabic, and myself included, you know, we make this mistake. you know, because it's difficult to distinguish between what these words are supposed to be and what word forms they take, you know, especially in the beginning of your studies in Arabic. You know, so this word that we have here, okay, Al-Madinah Al-Munawwarah, okay, it is not in mubtada khabar form, okay, because mubtada khabar, remember I told you that you would have puts, if you were to translate it, you would have puts is, are, was, were in between, or am, yeah. So I'm not saying Al-Madinah Munawwaratun, okay, Al-Madinatu Munawwaratun. If I were to say Al-Madinatu Munawwaratun, then this would be mubtada khabar form. Okay, the Madinah, the city, Munawwaratun, is enlightened. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the enlightened city. Okay, so if I'm saying the enlightened city, okay, then whatever, this is the sifat. So being enlightened is a sifat of the city. It's an attribute of the city that it is enlightened. Okay, because it is a sifat of the city. Okay, so it would take, okay, one of the things that is a property of this word form we call sifat mausuf is that the sifat would take exactly the same shakal as the mausuf, the thing that is being attributed to the city. Okay, so if it's al-Madinatu, al-Munawwara would follow suit, al-Munawwaratu. Okay, if it's like this in the sentence, al-Madinati, then al-Munawwar would take the same form as the mausuf, al-Madinati, so al-Munawwarati. Okay, so if the mausuf takes tanwin, like for example, if there's no alif walam, it takes tanwin, then the munawwar would also follow suit. There will be no alif walam and it would also take tanwin. Okay, so this is just to draw your attention, okay, at this point in time, that there is a difference between saying al-Madinatu munawwaratun and al-Madinatul munawwaratu. Okay, because al-Madinatu munawwaratun means the city is enlightened, but when we say al-Madinatul munawwaratu, it means the enlightened city. It's just a phrase, okay, it's not a sentence, right? This one, if we were to go back to this form, yeah, al munawwaratun, okay, munawwaratun, munawwaratun, this is a complete sentence, al-Madinatu munawwaratun. But this is not, this is just a phrase. It means the enlightened city. Okay, wa fil madinatil munawwarati. Okay, right? Okay, questions? Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes to think. Okay, type. Questions? Okay. So it's actually quite a lot that we've introduced today. So we actually have 1, 2, 3. We have another 7 sentences to go to dissect, you know. And I'm just thinking whether it's worthwhile for us to go through, or you think that actually it's a lot already for today. And you can let me know so that I don't go on and push on, you know. So you have to let me know whether it's too much or not. Yeah.
Maybe a couple more, okay.
A couple more, okay, 2 more. Couple more is 2 more, okay. Then we'll leave the rest for later. The ladies, you know, you can drop a message. You know, if you don't want to use the mic, you know, let me know whether this is too much, or you know, whether we should just stop here and pause for a while and take the rest next week, because I don't want to overwhelm you with too much. You know, this is how the book flows. But if it's too much, you know, because the book, I believe that Medina Reader was actually designed for someone who's studying Arabic like 4 or 5 times a week, you know. No, I'm flexible, okay, inshallah. Thank you. Jazakallah. Jazakillah. Okay, so inshallah, we'll continue. We'll do 2 more sentences, and these are actually very long sentences, okay? Let's just look at it. Okay, bintu Hamidin. Okay, bintu Hamidin is mudhaf ilaih. Okay. Bintu Hamidin. Fil madrasati is in the madrasah. The daughter of Hamid is in the madrasah. Okay. So this is mubtada and this is khabar. Okay. Obviously, because we said the daughter of Hamid, where she is in the madrasah. So this is mubtada khabar, subject predicate form. Okay. And it is now joined with another sentence, okay, with a connector wa. We call this wawul ataf. Okay. It joins 2 similar sentences together, or 2 sentences with similar structures together. Okay. Wa bintu Muhammadin, and the daughter of Muhammad. Again, this is mudhaf ilaih, and this is a mubtada, and the khabar is fil jami'ati, is in the university. Okay. So this is the khabar, tu bintu Muhammadin. Type. And then again, the next sentence, okay, ismul mudarrisi, the name, this means name, al mudarrisi, the teacher. So the name of the teacher. What is the name of the teacher? So this is the mubtada. This whole thing is the mubtada. What is the khabar? Sa'idun. The name of the teacher is, you put an is here, Sa'idun. The name of the teacher is Sa'id. Okay. So again, this is a connector, wa. It connects 2 sentences. Okay. In this case, with structures that are exactly similar. Wasmul muhandisi, and the name of the engineer. So muhandis is an engineer, a male engineer. So again, this is a mubtada. And what is the khabar? Khalidun is Khalid. Okay. And the name of the muhandis, the engineer, is Khalid. Okay. Okay, type. So we'll just pause here. Questions?
Ustaz, for the ismu yang after the joining on wa ismu is memang tak ada kasrah.
Ni memang. Okay, this is what we call, actually asal dia, this is a special word, memang isim ni, kan? If it is used in the nakira form, it will take Hamzatul Wasl. So Hamzatul Wasl, remember we said that Hamzatul Wasl, it means that you just merge the two. So you do something called, do we call it idgham? Idgham, Hamzatul Wasl. Idgham or idkhal? Idkhal and idgham actually means the same thing, kan? No, but in linguistic also we say idgham, right? In imla also we say idgham. Okay, so we actually put it in lah. Kita masukkan terus. We don't have to mention this alif here. Terus kita say wasmul muhandisi. But this one, when it is used in ma'rifah form, okay, so that means when we put the alif walam, okay, terus the hamzah, okay, below the alif comes out. Okay, so it is a word that is actually pronounced this way and written this way in the Arabic language. So this is actually just one of the peculiarities of the Arabic language. Just like in English, we have R-I-T-E, rights, and W-R-I-T-E, rights, you know. They are pronounced the same way, but they mean different things, you know. So it's actually a little bit like that. It's just like that, okay. And this one,
so it's actually, sorry.
Yeah, so this, in fact, this kasrah here is not even supposed to appear, but you would know how to pronounce it. You know, if you see it, ismul mudarrisi Sa'idun, wasmul muhandisi Khalidun.
Okay, so it's actually same yang sentence 11 lah, wa ibnu. So sentence
Sama
11.
juga. Correct.
Okay.
So it will just be wabnu.
Okay, thank you, Ustaz.
Baik. Okay. Questions? You know, you can give me like feedback during the week, you know, or, you know, ask me questions during the week, you know. So yeah, so, you know, I can take time, and at least I know, like, you know, like, subhanallah, when you all submit the homework to me, so we can tell, you know, like, what is it that people are generally unclear about. Because when we see two people making the same mistakes, you know, 2 or 3 people making the same mistakes in the same homework, so we know that actually probably this one is a little bit difficult for people to get a grasp of, you know, so we can explain it again. So I encourage you all to send in homework, you know, to send it to me, because subhanallah, actually, alhamdulillah, many of you have sent, you know, you don't send every week, but every once in a while, you know, some of you send to me. So I know that every week someone sends to me. I know that you are actually looking at it and that you're progressing, you know. Yeah. So inshallah ta'ala, I was just thinking, with the help of my teaching assistant, inshallah ta'ala, we I think what a good exercise would be to follow up this class or this particular lesson with is actually identification, doing identification. So maybe we'll try to extract some sentence examples, okay, some word examples, and then we'll give you an exercise, inshallah ta'ala, to try and identify, the forms, and you can relate it or reference it to the forms that we've talked about so far. Mubtada khabar, mudhaf ilayh, and today we introduce something called sifat mausuf, okay, sifat wal mausuf. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll send that across over the course of this week, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, if you're not tied up with other things this week, inshallah ta'ala, okay, we will try to come up with an exercise so that you can do it, and it helps you to think faster, inshallah ta'ala, in the Arabic language. Okay, type questions. No questions. Okay. Okay, we'll just put this on hold, the exercise on page 40. I was thinking at the beginning of the class that maybe we can just skim through until sentence number 20 and then do this one for homework. But I think we'll just take it slow, inshallah ta'ala, so that people who are trying to get a grasp of the lessons can catch up, and then we'll do this together, inshallah ta'ala, next week. Okay. Okay, type. Okay, if there are no questions, then inshallah ta'ala we'll end here for today. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gift us with beneficial knowledge that with it, inshallah ta'ala, we will understand his words, and we will obey his commandments and stay away from his prohibitions, and we'll try to live our lives as the best Muslims, the best servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can be. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us closeness with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through our lessons ala hadiniyah wa la kulli niyatin salihah ma'al lutfin wa afiyah wa yusli sha'nakuna zahiran wa batinan wa ila hadratin nabi sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatih. Bismillah. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك زيادة في الدين وبركة في العمر وصحة في الجسد وسعة في الرزق وتوبة قبل الموت شهادة عند الموت مغفرة بعد الموت والعفو عند الحساب ومنا من العذاب ونصيبا من الجنة ورزقنا النظر إلى وجهك الكريم. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Wassallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wasallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. So we'll see you next week, inshallah ta'ala. Shanawaz, we didn't hear anything, we didn't hear from you today. So inshallah ta'ala, nanti anything you just ping me. Apa?
I'm not feeling so well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you might be driving or something. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll see you all next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih,
Welcome.
Ustaz.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.